Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm working on my D2, continuing to work on my D2 Evo from HB Racing, and today I'm working on the diff. A couple people have had a problem, as well as I did. If you come out of a corner and lay the power down just right with this diff, because there's no shim on the inside of the O-ring, it will break the O-ring and pop the outdrive out. So been trying to come up with a solution. A few people are putting a shim in there, and I tried that. The problem is it binds up just a little bit. So I came up with a way to fix this for me. It's been working for me, so I figured I would share with you what I'm doing. So I'm going to change this around to a POV view, and we'll tear this guy apart and show you what I've done. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to tear this guy down and show you what I've done. You have to excuse me if I stutter a little bit. It's cold this day. It's been here in 30 years in Alabama. It's like 12 degrees outside, so I got the heat cranking in the trailer, and it's barely keeping up, so I'm doing this super cold. So we'll go ahead and tear this thing down. I'll show you what I've done. So first I'm going to show you this. It's pretty smooth action. I've got 1,000 weight oil in here, which is just the kit oil. I'll play with that a little bit as I work on the setup, but we'll go ahead and tear this down. I'll show you what I've done. So I've been battling this for a little while. When I had the first race I went to, I had to change to, I had my dramatic fire, and I had to change to a 5.5 motor, super high grip track. So first time I ran it all day with no problem. But when I put that 5.5 in there, after a couple of laps, I tried to lay the power down one time coming on the straight, and I guess I twisted it just right, and the O-ring broke. The little pin went through the O-ring and popped the outdrive out. So I've did this mod and been running it around. Set me a little course up out here on the concrete and been running it really hard trying to mess it up, and it's been working great. So go ahead and tear it down and show you what I did. So I'll just set that out of the way. First I tried a different O-ring, a smaller O-ring. That didn't work. So let me get this out of the way. So you can see the action. You can see my shim in there. See, the action is really smooth. So a couple people came up with this shim and have been using it successfully, so I bought some. And the problem is, I gotta wipe this off. The problem is, it seemed to put it in a bind, so it was like really hard to turn, and you could actually see the shim rotating with it, and that can't be good. So we'll go ahead and pull it down. So my idea was, I tried that, I didn't like it. I tried the smaller O-ring with thinner amount of shims in there. You see, this is not the stock O-ring, but it is the same dimension. I bought some of those on Amazon. I bought the same dimension as stock, so it'll work with the stock O-ring too. I just did this for time and testing reasons. Okay, so what I did, I don't remember the exact dimension, but I took some material off out here to thin it out. And what I ended up with, let's see, this thing is so cold, let's hope it works. Okay, .12 millimeters, so 3.10 millimeters thereabouts. So to do this, ideally at my old job I would have it done on the lathe, but I don't have access to a lathe anymore. So what I did, I come over to my toolbox, and I've got some of this sandpaper with adhesive backing on it. It's 320 grit. So I take that, put it down on the table. I use this for several things. A fresh piece of paper on the table, a good flat surface, and I put it on there and go in a figure 8 circle. Now I'll do it just a little bit, rotate it, and keeping it down, making sure you got it flat on there. Don't let it go side to side, because it's got to stay flat. So I go into like a figure 8 spot a little bit, rotate it, and go to figure 8 spot a little bit and rotate it. And I did that until, and I would just reassemble it. I'd take a little material off at a time, reassemble it until it felt okay. Then I took some 800 grit sandpaper, held it down flat. You can see where it's shiny. That's where I've been using it on there. Same thing, figure 8 pattern, rotate it, so on and so forth. And I would do that every time that I would test it. It took several tries to come up with that number that seemed to work okay. Then I came in and used some semi-chrome polish and a buffing wheel. And see, it's kind of shiny, polished, almost like chrome. Smooth it out as shiny as I can get it so it'd be smooth and no friction from the outdrive. So then I used some O-ring grease and put my O-ring in there like normal. Then my shim. Let me measure this shim. I can't remember dimensions on it. Clean it off a little bit first. Bought a pack of these shims. Well, I almost lost it. Bought a pack of these shims from, I think I got them on Amazon. I can't remember. But the ID is 5 millimeters, OD 8 millimeters, and the thickness is 0.17 millimeters. So now if you find different shim, different thickness, you're gonna have to just do it by feel. But this O-ring fits just inside the gaps, and it's gonna hold the O-ring in place, keep the pin from puncturing the O-ring and going through it. So put your you want to do it to where this slides in somewhat easy but somewhat firm. And I was looking for a smooth feel. No, not a whole lot. You can pull it obviously and compress the O-ring a little bit and get a little bit of play, but I want it to be a smooth refill with barely any resistance. If you go too loose, it may tend to end up leaking on you. So I want to have just the tiniest bit of resistance I can have to where it feels smooth. And repeat that on both sides, and it should feel pretty smooth. Now, some people are running 2 gears instead of 4, the spider gears. I'm gonna probably experiment with that at some point down the road, but for now, I'm just using all 4 to test it. And I'm gonna spend some more time testing this, and I'll keep y'all updated. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna wipe this off and go ahead and reassemble it here. When I assemble these, I like to line the pin on the gear with 2 holes. Put these over the holes, then line these up with the holes to put it back to reassemble it. Another tip, I've found that the 1.5 wrench or driver is too small for these smaller screws, and all HB screws seem to be this way. So for me, I have a 1/16 driver from back when I ran Losi. It seems to fit just right. So I use a 1/16 driver. That'll keep it from stripping the screws out. So you don't want to over tighten these. Just get them where they're tight, and then just a tiny turn more. Keep from stripping them out. So anyway, there you have it. Nice and smooth, correctly operating diff. It seems to be holding up so far. and we'll keep going, and I'll keep you posted, and we'll see what happens. Okay, there you have it. That's what I did to solve the issue with the diff on my car. I'm gonna still testing this, so use it at your own discretion, but I think it's a good solution. I've ran it a couple of packs through it in the driveway on the concrete. I set up some cones and did some hard cornering and run it hard as I could for a couple of packs, and not one issue. It didn't leak or anything. So I'm pretty excited to try this. I'm going to try it next time out when we go racing, and try it on your car, see if it works for you, and let me know. Have any questions, feel free to ask, and make sure you hit that notification bell, subscribe, like, and share, and we'll see you next time.